Okay, today we have hamstrings and we have forearms, your favorite day of the week. At least I'm looking forward to it today because, well, I'm injured a bit in the knee at the back in my tendon, you know that. But I feel like I can work around it. You know, I was still coping a bit the last few trainings, even though the tendon was hurting. I was trying to go heavy, but now I'm not coping anymore. I'm gonna step away from heavy stuff. I'm gonna move to light and volume, and I'm gonna try to heal the tendon. So I'm very excited for that. And like these times where your training does not go as planned, those are like the most valuable times. You know, when you look back on them, they suck when you experience them. Of course, you don't want to be injured, but when it happens and you do everything in your power to surpass it, to overcome it, that's when you know, like, okay, I really want this stuff. I really wanna, get stronger, get more fit, get like bigger legs and stuff like that. Because people oftentimes say, they also say it to me sometimes, like some of my friends say like, oh, I want to be like I want to have a bit of muscle on my body. I want to be a bit stronger. And I'm like, yeah, sure, train. And then they're like, yeah, but I don't really know what to do. And I just tell them, do what you love. And then they start training, and then after a few weeks or after a few days even, they're done. And I'm like, well, do you really want it? You can say you want something and then also not want to make the sacrifice. That's completely different from actually wanting something and actually wanting to, spend time on what you want and trying to improve yourself. And like when you're injured, as like a person who loves training, those are like the same times, because during that injury you can either give up completely or you can keep the ball rolling. You can do what you like still can do, like allowed to do with injury, and you can try to overcome it. The last thing you want to happen is for your fire to go out during like an injury. I had one time, especially that I remember during my life, that my fire went out. I was doing judo and I tore my uh, tendon, or what is it, like the ligament in my knee, my ACL, and I was mentally I was done, because yes, I was doing rehab, I was going to physiotherapy, stuff like that. I was getting compliments from my dad, like, oh, you're going to therapy all the time, you're doing your exercises every day. But in the back of my head, I knew, like, no, 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 I'm not doing my best. I'm doing what I'm being told to do, but I'm not doing my best. Because if you're doing your best, you'll search by yourself for like things you can do and how you can improve, and like you'll be excited to train again. I didn't train at all when I like injured my leg, not even my upper body. I wasn't eating food. I lost 6 kilos, and I regret. Do I regret it? I regretted it at the time a lot. When I was like better, and I was like, "Fuck, I wasted so many months." But now I look back on it, and it's like a lesson, to never let the fire die. Because when I injured my shoulder earlier this year, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna let that happen again. And I started bulking because more food is more energy to recover. I did everything in my power to make my shoulder better. I started training my legs more than ever before. I started running, and in the end, so many good things came out of that injury. I truly believe that if I didn't injure myself like heavily on my shoulder in the beginning of the year, I wouldn't be as strong as I am now. I wouldn't be as passionate as I am now. I wouldn't be making these videos. I wouldn't be running every day. So depending on how you face your injuries, you can get something good out of it. And those are like really the times that you'll make jumps, like in how strong you are, in how much you love training. But anyway, enough ranting. Hamstrings today. Like I said, working out the injury. We're gonna do some volume. I'm gonna do finger assist Nordic curls, but I'm not gonna go all the way up, because if I release my fingers, then my entire body is pressuring my tendon. So I'm gonna keep my finger on the ground and do kind of half reps, and this will allow me to have a low pressure at all times for longer times on the tendon. Okay, so I've been doing sets with short rest time. I worked up like 10 reps, 10 reps, 12 reps, 12 reps, 14 reps, 14 reps, 16 reps, and then on the second set of 16, I failed on like the ninth rep or something. So now I'm gonna do one set with pinky assisted, which is gonna be heavier, low rep, and I'm able to do that because I'm completely warm and I don't feel any pain in my tendon anymore. So I'm gonna do this one set and then also one more finisher set of superset with 1 and 2 finger resistance. Alright. I'm completely burnt out. 2 reps is gonna be enough. Let's rest up and do the last finisher set. Okay, after those finger assisted Nordic curls, I did some band assisted work. I didn't record it because it's not that interesting. It's just like 50 to 100 reps of curls with the band for the hamstring. But that gave me a really good pump, you know. I'll do a. My legs aren't impressive yet, but they've certainly gotten bigger. And you know, with these injuries, right, you're weaker than usual. You know, training is not as you want it to go. But it's like, it's not only physical, it's also mental, you know. It's like the body dysmorphia. And it's like those thoughts, those mental aspects, either they burn you down, you know, they're like fuel. Either they burn you down or you can use them as fuel. If the fuel for your car is outside of the car, it will burn the car. But if you put it in your car and you put it to good use, well, then your car is driving. So with these injuries as well, you know, use it to burn the fire inside of you, not to let it burn you down. Because like in these times, you're the weakest. You need the most amount of hype to get over your injuries, you know? You need the hype to constantly be motivated to do the right stuff to get over your injury, to find what am I still able to do? What am I able to do again after I was, you know, stripped from my ability because of the injury? So that's what I'm trying to do now. I was spiraling down, you know, because the tendon got worse and worse and worse before I actually accepted that, okay, it's an injury, I have to treat it. And now, like, this training is like the first step to spiral up again. You know, if you're injured, like, you gotta stop the spiral down. You know, take 2 steps back and just assess the situation. And you're gonna have to think for yourself, how do I get out of this shithole? You know, and then you can spiral up again. And if you find a way, for example, for me now, you know, lowering the load and upping the volume, upping like the amount of or the length of my sits, which will allow my tendon to recover, that's the way I'm gonna spiral up again. Because I'm gonna build a huge base, and when I have that base bigger than before, I'm gonna be able to build up Nordics again. And that's what's ultimately gonna get me horse cock strong, horse leg, you know, powerful PK stuff. I don't know. Horsepower. I don't know what I'm saying. But anyway, that's like today was a successful hamstring training, you know? We're not doing like unassisted, like free Nordic rolls anymore, but we're building back up to it and we're going to be stronger than before. So I'm so happy. And now what I'm going to do is a bit of forearms, only a few sets, I think like maybe 2 sets of the hammer lift. Someone asked me like, what the fuck is this exercise? Like, well, and I'll show you in a bit, but basically I use the exercise for forearms to treat my injuries for planche. Because I used to have very weak forearms, and every time I trained planche, I would injure myself after like a week or 2 and I would, you know, be in pain. but ever since I started doing this movement, I haven't had any issues with my forearms or my biceps for that matter. So yeah, I'll show you the movement and I'm going to do a few sets of those. Okay, the hammer lift, I'll explain this while warming up. So what I do is I take a dumbbell, like it's an adjustable, I have plates of 2 and 1 kilos, and I put them all on one side, and then I grab with my hands, like the opposite side of the dumbbell, you know, or like the bar, I should say. And then I rest my arm on my other arm, and I lift the dumbbell up like this. Whoops. And then for the other arm as well. And then what this does is it mimics or it uses the forearm muscles that you would use in a planche, because in a planche, you're holding the bar like this and you're pushing up, you know, and you're constantly putting pressure on this side of the forearm. And for me, this would hurt like a lot until I started doing this exercise. But by doing this movement of curling up with only your wrist, you're basically always activating this muscle, making it stronger, making it more bulletproof for the planche itself. So what I do is, or what I think is the most important part for this movement, is you started out very light. You know, I started out with 1 kilo for like 30 reps and it used to hurt. But then you just keep building up, you know, you just keep up like aiming for PRs. And then now I'm doing it with 7 kilos for my main set. And basically by just keeping like PRs or like aiming for PRs, you're naturally gonna get stronger, you know. Strength is the best remedy for injuries. If you get stronger, you're not gonna get injured. So this is my second warm-up set. With 6 kilos now. And then what I will do in a second is I will load 7 kilos on this bar. I'm gonna take a moment to rest. But what I will do is basically I will try one set with my maximum amount of reps. And at the moment, my maximum is 15. So basically today, if I can get anything of 16 and beyond, I'm happy. And of course, I'm gonna aim for more. My goal is 20 reps. I always aim for 20 reps. And then if I can get 20 reps, I aim for multiple sets, so 2 or 3 sets. And if I get that, I add 1 kilo to the end of the bar and I just repeat. Because just adding 1 kilo is like an immense difference, you know? You add 1 kilo and suddenly you're not able to do 20 reps anymore. You're able to do only like 7 or something if you do this correctly. So that's what I'm aiming for today as well. I do this like every few days. And then every few days I notice I'm stronger. I notice that my forearms are more bulletproof. So yeah, if you want to try this, give this a go. Yes. Alright, that's it for forearms. Only 2 sets basically. I reached 20 reps for one set on 7 kilos. And after that I reached 30 kilos for the first time on 5 kilos, which is amazing, you know. It's a PR and I was already super tired from the 7 kilos. But yeah, this is just the way that I treat my injuries. I try to spot the weak part, the reason I got injured, and then I try to find exercises that will improve that part, because if you're injured and like a certain movement hurts, yes, you can avoid the movement and it will get better, but you'll not like overcompensate that much that afterwards, you can do the movement again. So in order to do like certain movements that hurt, you need to practice them. And the problem most of the time is, for me at least, is that, you have a bit of your ego in the way, like telling you to ego lift, like, oh, like 1 kilo, that's super easy, you go to 2 kilos. But that's like how you get injured. It's like patiently building up from 1 kilo with high reps, like on this movement or like any movement, basically, like doing very high reps, very low load, and building it up slowly, 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 like getting a small PR each time. And if you do that long enough, then like at a certain point, you will have bulletproofed your body, Like for the Hephaestus, for example, as well, it's a dangerous movement. I hurt my shoulder again on it because I had a previous shoulder injury from judo. But does that mean I have to quit Hephaestus? No, that means I have to find out which area of my shoulder is still weak and how I can improve it. Because if you keep like avoiding the stuff that hurts, well, in the end, you're gonna be the old man, like, oh, my back, and I can't do this, I can't do that. I think you have to kind of fight against your injuries and try to improve upon them until they are like not hurting anymore. That's my opinion. But if you're experiencing an injury right now, fight through it. If you can keep your fire for training going during this time, you'll certainly not lose it when you are healed. And you'll look back on like the injury and even think like, yeah, I'm happy I got injured, because I learned a lot. I got more passionate from my training and now I'm stronger. So just keep fighting. That's all I want to say. That's what I'm going to do as well for my hamstring. And yeah, that's it. Tomorrow we have a push day. It's going to be planche and dips again, or maybe push-ups. I'll see. But anyway, on the planche last time we got 2 sets of 10-second hold. And one of those sets, like the first one, I did the press as well. So if tomorrow, I'm hoping I can do 2 sets of 10-second hold plus a press. And then I will have improved. I will be happy. Yeah, I'm kind of nervous to do it, to be honest, but that's also the exciting part. So I'll see you tomorrow, and now I'm gonna eat some food.